Okay, now I have to speak loud. Hi, it's the sunny, and it's the 22nd today, and it's 4:31 p.m. I'm actually going to see if I can put this down, and I hope you can hear me. Maybe I'll move a little closer. I'll explain that in a few minutes. I did want to say something. I was out today. I went to the Park Lawn food pantry up at St. James Christ Church, and first and foremost, I want to say this. I see you. I see you. I see your a voice. I see what has happened, and I want you to know something. I'm praying for you, and those who did what they did to you are now being thoroughly. There's a lot of charges going through. Okay, so know this. I get followed by the police on a regular basis. They're mostly for protection against certain people who are following me and who wish to have me, as I say, leave this earth. So I want you to know that every time I go out, no matter where I'm going, like I was in Union Station and up by Sunnybrook, not for an appointment, but for a job interview, and I took the subway and the streetcar and the GO train and whatever, and various methods of transportation. And when I go out, I do see you. I see you wearing pink. I see you wearing blue and orange and yellow, and I see a lot of white and a lot of red and lavender and pink. I'm seeing a lot too. First of all, I want to talk to those who are wearing, I see a lot of red and a lot of white and a lot of blue with that. And I want to just say something. I want to say that that it's going to get better, and I want you to seek out somebody who you trust, and someone who can help you, and those of you who wear white, someone who you can reach out to who can tangibly help you. I also want to say, I see when I see the anger and when I see the yellow and as well as the purple, and I get that. You have a right to be angry. You have a right to want to leave this earth, but just know this, and I'm going to bring our Heavenly Father into this, because I know you're thinking right now, well, where was he when this happened? He was there. He was right with you. And when you say, he knows how you're feeling and what you need to do. Like, I'm just going to encourage you to reach out to, if you can't talk to somebody, then just get on your knees, sit in your bed, sit in your bedroom, go somewhere where you can be silent and where you can be quiet. And if it helps to put on some music, I would recommend something not harsh, but something where you can just kind of be quiet and be in a place, even if it's not inside, if it's outside, take a walk or whatever, but by yourself, and say, okay, God, I don't know why this happened. I'm really angry, and I don't want to be here, but I need you to show yourself real to me right now. So doing that, I can almost guarantee you that God's going to show up. He's going to show up. Our Heavenly Father will show up, and something that only you will recognize, and only you will have that confirmation in you, and only you will know. So I would for everybody, I would actually say to you, okay, God, show up. I need to see you. I need to know. I'm praying for everybody. I pray for you every single morning, and just be encouraged to know that the police are so in this now. They are so in this. They are so recognizing, and for those people who would say, like Ash, she said it was a cult following and all this kind of stuff, and people say, well, whatever, look where it's coming from. I mean, everybody knows throughout the whole thing that I don't have any I don't wish her any harm, but I don't have any love for her. I mean, I have the love of the Lord for her, right? I don't have anything for her. But that's where it's coming from. So you got to kind of take it with a grain of salt. The other thing I want to talk about is one of the reasons why I'm out of Daily Bread Food Bank. I found this out this week, where we were at Wednesday. So I found this out this week, late last week. Jeffrey Wong. I had drafted a letter to the board of directors at Daily Bread Food Bank, and I had drafted a letter, and I sent that off to the Toronto Star, CBC News, and CP24 digitally, and I have a hard copy that I'm mailing, but also I sent it off as an email to the HR, and I sent it that requesting a board of directors meeting and a kitchen staff meeting. One of the reasons why is because I was the one who launched the internal investigation, because I was being bullied in the kitchen, and there was a progression of certain things. My knowledge of how internal investigations work, and I was a supervisor, I was a manager when I worked, is that the HR department takes a hold of that and they interview the person who launched the investigation. I was interviewed by Michael Greenberg and by Alison Gibbons. Alison Gibbons, I got upset, and I'm going to say I raised my voice because I was so upset, and because Alison Gibbons was the person who was spreading the initial rumors about me being a mental patient, being a drug dealer, and living in the shelter, being a danger, and having a psychiatric issue. And I had gone to Alison Gibbons, and there was a lot of witnesses in her office, and I spoke to her, and I said to her, I said, do you have the education, and did you do a psychiatric assessment on me to spread these rumors throughout the Daily Bread Food Bank? And she said, no, I do not have I said, well, then you don't have a right, okay? So that ended that. Right, that whole thing with Alison Gibbons. Alison Gibbons has her own issues. I don't want to pick at them. That's her problem. I don't, let's hope and pray that she resolves them. A lot of people say that. The other thing is that Jeffrey Wong had said that he didn't want me to have food. And then when I spoke to Stuart, he didn't say it to my face, but when I spoke to him, he actually said I couldn't take direction, which when I went to the kitchen, if you don't know anything about working in a kitchen, right? So if you do know about working in a kitchen, a lot of it is there's loud music, there's a lot of cooking going on, and obviously it's a kitchen, but it's really fast paced and it's really loud. So, and I said, well, I wear hearing aids, and the chefs knew that. Randy knew it the moment I came in. Say found out. I think Charles knew it as well. So, they all knew that. So that was Jeffrey Wong lying once again. Then he stated that he didn't like me being there because I stole. Okay, so if you know anything about Daily Bread Food Bank, the Daily Bread Food Bank receives so many donations, and a lot of them are damaged foods and damaged pop and things like that they cannot sell, which is perfect because there's a whole lot of waste going on in the world in terms of with different grocery stores and different restaurants and everything. It's tons of waste, but part of that is having to raise the standard and because when you go to a grocery store, you're not going to go and buy a can of pop or a case of pop with 3 or 4 cans in it that are dented. They can't charge the full unit price for the pop that are dented. So they can't do that. You're not going to go and buy, when there's rows and rows and rows and rows of strawberries or pints of strawberries or peppers or anything. You're not going to go, they have to keep the standard up. They can't charge full price for a strawberry that's moldy, going moldy, or has a spot on it or anything. That's why you go over to the clearance section, and I do that all the time when I'm in the grocery store. You go over to the clearance section, I say clearance, markdown, whatever they want to call it over there. They call it markdown section. And there's a whole row over in the produce. There's a whole row shelf over by the baked goods. There's a shelf. There's a bunker. That's what they call them. There's a bunker in the meats. And reality is that you can go buy a meat, any kind of meat that says 30% off, because what's called is the Julian codes. The Julian codes tell the distributor and tell the buyer, the actual buyer, over at, say, let's take No Frills or whatever, because I used to work for Loblaws. So that tells the distributor and the buyer over at Loblaws who buys the meat, and when he packages it, they put a Julian code on. So to remove it from the shelf, and then it's different from the best before date. You can put something in. I received some meat today from the food pantry. It's been in the freezer for 3 months. So you can put it, you can take it off the shelf, you can put it in the freezer for 3 months, and then, like, I'm defrosting it in my kitchen now, and it's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it at all. The amount of waste that is happening is not as a result of the distributors, the big four. They call them the big four companies, grocery companies. It's as a result of society and the buyer, because the buyer wants perfection for what they're paying, and the amount of money that they're paying for groceries. They want perfection. They want to see perfection, and they want it displayed as perfection. We're a perfectionist society. So anyway, with that, so Jeffrey Wong had stated that I couldn't come into another thing is I couldn't come into the food bank because I was a companion. Okay, everybody knows this. It's all over my YouTube and my social media postings that I was a companion. In 2022, at the Come Up Here conference, that is when I was, for lack of a better word, Murray Smith, and it was just Murray, and then I suffered a seizure, and then I believe I was a seizure. I don't know. I can't really remember, but it didn't go well. And then Duncan Smith, and then Duncan Smith had said, okay, he repeatedly. He came into my apartment when I lived in St. Catharines. He would fly in from North Carolina, and he would come into my apartment, and he would stay for a bit, and then he would leave like twice a week. He would either fly into Buffalo, or if he had business here up there in Ontario, he would fly into Toronto and drive back. And he would be with his bodyguards at the time. Jeffrey Wong had stated that I was a flirt, that I was a whore, and that he did not want someone like me in the Daily Bread food bank. Jeffrey Wong said that my clothing was inappropriate, and that anyone who did what I did and was really not appropriate at all for a Christian. I don't even think he brought up the fact that I was a Christian. I don't know if that was even brought up. But okay, I'm going to discuss my clothing in a minute. I want to discuss something. First and foremost, as a companion, you're supposed to be a companion to a leader, what you're supposed to be getting is $2,000 a month. I never received any money. And that's why the posting started initially. When the posting started back in May of 2024, it was because Linda Cooley was in the office, and he said to me, if you want to get the money, why don't you just start talking about it? Because you have the microphone and then the camera. There was a surveillance camera on my Sony DVD player. There was a surveillance camera on my VCR that Jonas Regato came into my apartment, and he put it in. And I'm going to say, for people who think that that's like, no, that doesn't happen. First and foremost, Duncan Smith was a cop. He was a police officer. Jonas Regato, I mean, you can, so let's keep that in mind, okay? That Duncan was a police officer, and he talks about it in his sermons, how he was a police officer for His Majesty, whatever. He was a police officer when he was in England, or something, I don't know. He says England, but honestly, I forget. But he was a police officer, so he does have a lot of access to different things. Plus, he has to have bodyguards, right? So, I mean, I do know that he still had that he has a gun, and he has a permit for that gun because he was a police officer. So, I mean, he would, right? So the camera and the microphone and everything, but I want to say this, that that's how Sandra Long became very jealous, because Sandra Long was a companion to Duncan, and she was jealous. She liked him. She fell in love with him or something, and there was this whole big, and this jealousy has turned into a vindictive thing, because now Sandra Long had said, "I'm not going to give any money because she hasn't had a betting schedule and marry Audrey and all this kind of stuff." Well, the reality is, and they're still at it, right? They're still saying, "Well, Jontas or Dallas are going to pick you up for a raping schedule," and Melanie says she can't. She's a companion. She's not. I'm not. I ripped that necklace off my neck. See, in Isaiah, I'm gonna read it. Let me just grab my phone. Um, because like Murray's companions wear rings, Duncan's companions wear necklaces, and um, so so it's Isaiah, and it's 50. I believe it's Isaiah 52. I'm gonna read. Yes, I'm going to read from the New International Version. And I want to say something about Isaiah 52 as well. It became sort of like a mantra for me. Not mantra, I hate that word. I don't know why I just said that. It became sort of not a mantra, but it became something that I would say over and over and over again. You know, you get those Bible verses that you say over and over and over again, and because they're really ministering to you. Mantra should never have been said. Okay, I'm going to read it. Awake, awake, O Zion, clothe yourself with strength. Put on your garments of splendor, O Jerusalem, the holy city, the uncircumcised and defiled will not enter you again. Shake off your dust, rise up, sit enthroned, O Jerusalem, free yourself from the chains on your neck. O captive daughter of Zion, for this is what the Lord says, you were sold for nothing, and without money you will be redeemed. For this is what the sovereign Lord says, at first my people went down to Egypt to live, lately Assyria has oppressed them. And now, what do I have here, declares the Lord? For my people have been taken away for nothing, and those who rule them mock, declares the Lord. And all day long my name is constantly blasphemed. Therefore my people will know my name. Therefore in that day they will know that it is I who foretold it. Yes, it is. How beautiful are on the mountains are the feet of those who bring good news, who proclaim peace, who bring good tidings, who proclaim salvation, who say to Zion, your God reigns. Listen, you watchmen, lift up their voices, together they shout for joy. When the Lord returns to Zion, they will see it with their own eyes. Burst into songs of joy together, you ruins of Jerusalem, for the Lord has comfort for his people. He has redeemed Jerusalem. The Lord will lay bare his holy arm in the sight of all the nations, and all the ends of the earth will see the salvation of our God. Depart, depart, go out from there, touch no unclean thing. Come out from it and be pure, you who carry the vessels of the Lord. But you will not leave in haste or go in flight, for the Lord will go before you. The God of Israel will be your rear guard. See, my servant will act wisely. He will be raised and lifted up and highly exalted. Just as there were many who were appalled at him, his appearance was so disfigured, beyond that of any man, and his form beyond human likeness. So will he sprinkle many nations, and kings will shut their mouths because of him. For what they were not told, they will see, and what they have not heard, they will understand. So that goes all the way up to, that's the whole chapter. But when I looked, God spoke to me about this, right? Our Heavenly Father spoke to me. He said, when it says in chapter 2, free yourself from the chains on your neck. The day, and there's some clause saying that a woman can never, once a companion, always a companion. That's the little thing that goes around Toronto. I hear all the time. Once I ripped that chain off my neck, that night, it was over at the Airbnb in Mississauga on Goldmere Drive. The night before I went into the hospital because they thought I had a blood clot in my leg, and the night before, and a couple nights before, I ended up in shelter over on Britannia. Once that happened, there was an incredible sense of freedom and an incredible sense of release. So, so with that being said, we can't have someone like her in Daily Bread Food Bank. Let me tell you something. There are stories all over the world, in the world, about women who are one night stands, who repeatedly, who use their bodies, who not necessarily who use their bodies as provocatively and are promiscuous, and it doesn't matter what age they are. They get called different names, all of which I'm not going to speak, and I'm not accusing anybody of their lifestyle. If that's a lifestyle for you, then that's fine. I'm not like that. And that's what began the Black and Beige movement. Now, revolution. Not only did I want to speak about those who were raping schedules and how it was wrong, not only did I recognize the fact that we have Jonas Rugathar, who is not only a pedophile and is attacking the Nigerian community, and who actually has like pornographic movies, and Murray Smith is a pedophile, and Rob McIntosh is a pedophile. And so we have all this and what they're doing to the children, and what they've done to the young people at Freshwind, and how they've attacked young women. So I found that out, right? It started off with the fact that I found out at the youth what they were doing to the youth on Friday nights, that Melinda Jeffries was taking them into the office and making them renounce their Christianity and pouring pig's blood. That was my first flag. And that's when I started listening. And I started listening to the microphone. So Jeffrey Wong has stated that in Daily Bread Food Bank that I was flirting, that I was dressing inappropriately, and so, okay, I'm sorry, I'm doing it, yeah, which isn't working, sorry. I was inappropriately speaking to men in the Daily Bread Food Bank. Okay, let me just tell you, so this is what I've heard. I've heard that 8 men found me attractive and wanted to ask me out. Okay, let me tell you something about me. I was overweight. I was overweight for years and years and years and years, and I went from being a size 24, and I became anorexic, and I went down to a size 10, and then I became bulimic, and I went from a size 10 up to a size 14. And then my weight leveled off, and I got healed from food addiction and eating disorders, and my weight leveled off at size 16, and then I lost more weight, and then I was in the hospital and I lost weight. So I was never considered a woman who, and plus I wear a wig. Men have repeatedly, guys, all my life, like since I started wearing a wig, and guys have always said that I could never go out with you because you wear a wig. That really turns me off. And I think, and I've actually had people say that they could, yeah, it was something that really turned them off, and they could never go out with me once they found out I wore a wig. Whatever. That shows you what kind of a man that is, or what kind of a guy that is. So these 8 individuals, one of them, two of them had problems with the wig. So once I found out there was a wig, no. Another person who asked me out, actually asked me out. I said no because I was not interested, because I found them, I just didn't like, I wasn't interested. Another person who asked me out, they actually asked me out, but I found out they were involved with another woman at the food bank in a relationship, and I gave them an ultimatum, and I said, it's either them, it's either her or me, and they chose her. Big deal, right? It happens in the workplace. It's not sexual harassment until it becomes sexual harassment. Sexual harassment is different than a man being attracted to you because of the way you look. Sexual harassment is different than a man being attracted to you because of how you portray yourself. And then, so where are we? So, okay. So then there was this other guy who actually was attracted to me, but I kind of didn't know it. I'm kind of clueless with things like that. And then there's the man I'm currently in a relationship with, and he is at the Daily Bread Food Bank, and he works in production. That's all I'm going to say about it. I don't want to reveal his name right now, but I do want to say that things are getting very serious, and a lot of people at Daily Bread know about it. And the reason why I don't want to reveal his name, people will say, "Oh, you're lying," and all that kind of stuff, is because I want to protect him, and he hasn't given me permission yet to reveal his name on the postings. He gets a little nervous about that, and I will say this: that Duncan has threatened him with a gun at his home, and Jonas Regato has beaten the crap out of him, landing him in hospital with internal injuries. Okay, so this is my purpose today. I'm in my bedroom, and Jeffrey Wong has stated that my clothing is inappropriate. So today, I am going to show you, I'm going to see if I can make this bigger. Oh, no, I didn't. Oh no. Okay, I can't make it bigger. Actually, that might be a lot better because you get more. Okay, so I'm going to show you every bit of clothing that I have. Okay, I'm going to kind of readjust. There's going to be a little bit of readjusting. And part of it has been used by Melanie Regato, and Sandra Long has bought, so to kind of portray me, right? And of late, a little room in that. Oh, so excuse me. All right. I'm not trying them on, just so you know that. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of movement, but this is a sweater. And it's actually too tight, and I actually just realized I don't like the way I look on it. It's a lavender sweater from Clio, and I'm wearing jeans. How can I get the jeans in? There, move back. Yep, just a pair of jeans, and I've actually put on weight, which is good. These are a size 12, and they're from Clio. They're my favorite jeans, actually. They're actually one of my only few pair of jeans. So, I have all my clothing laid out on my bed here, which is actually really messy. Let's start with, alright. These are another pair of jeans from Clio. They're a little too tight. I don't wear them very much because they're too tight, and they actually look like leggings. And I think leggings, for my personal, leggings are personally something that is the worst fashion ever. I'm gonna have to stop this, and then I'm gonna have to do a part 2. Okay? Because my battery's running out, and I will do a part 2 in a few minutes.